The 13th floor. The 13th floor.
Welcome to the 13th floor, ladies and gentlemen, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am somehow your host this week. The moderator is MIA. He was supposed to be here. We put out an APB for him. We got the searchlight going from the top of the building. So hopefully we find him. He may join us. But in the meantime, I got my squad here. We don't have the whole squad. We'll get some shout outs in a little bit here, but I'm going to go to my main man, Jay Dace, first. What's happening, sir?
What's going on, man? Another beautiful day in paradise as always.
Wonderful, wonderful. Then I've got Mike D in the building.
How they do? Another legendary day in Zamunda.
Legendary in Zamunda. That's what I'm talking about. I still don't know how I feel about them coming out with a part 2 for that.
Yeah. They can't. Really?
Yeah, man.
Eddie in it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Arsenio?
I don't know if Arsenio's in it. I would imagine he is, though. He's not doing anything else. Might as well.
This is old. Ooh.
Yeah. And before we go any further, I got Faison that's here with us today. Sir, what's happening?
What's going on, people? As always, happy to be here. Happy I can make it. It's a rough night, but I'm here. And I'm excited, and I want to get this thing going. So thank you. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, crew.
Good. So shout out to the lady in the background in Jay's space there. How you doing? We like to acknowledge everybody's presence. But
right.
And since we shouting people out, let's give a shout out to Fresh. Our resident DJ, our entrepreneur ninja, is overseas in Haiti and doing helping to capture some mission work. Mm-hmm. But he was also rocking out. It looked like a packed, I don't know what it was, but it looked like it had to be maybe 250, 300 people. And he was DJing, and man, talk about international man of just entertainment at this point. So I'm sure he'll have some more nicknames when he gets back, but shout out to Fresh overseas. And that's why he's not with us today. We know if that was Faison, he'd be found a way to chime in from wherever he was.
You know that. I like it. National check-in.
We see that picture show through Art's glasses like we did the last time.
Yep. That was pretty cool. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what we're talking about, man, just go back and start watching from episode 1 and catch up. You'll catch all the stuff that we bring up, that we reference. We're going to start with the light stuff today, fellas, because I have a feeling the conversation is going to get real heavy when we get into our topic of the day. But before we get there, we'll do some light stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not went and got yourself something to take notes on, today is definitely the day you want to. When we get to the main topic, we will hit some stuff that's pretty, man, like when we hit you with it, you're going to be like, wow, I really want to make sure that I write that down. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, who still has a unbroken bracket?
I didn't do a bracket.
I didn't do a bracket either.
I didn't do a bracket either.
Nope. Well, I told you guys that my bracket will always be a losing bracket because I always put Miami in the Final Four. So,
yeah.
With that being the case, I will never.
No.
Well, that's not true.
You will eventually.
Eventually, but currently in the current spectrum of the of our studious athletes, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and then by the time the podcast comes out, I'm not sure what day. I don't know when the national championship is. That next weekend? I don't know.
Next Saturday, Monday. Yeah.
Who's still in right now?
Texas Tech and whoever just beat Duke, Michigan State.
Duke lost.
Virginia and Auburn.
I'm going to say Virginia's. I'm sorry, Michigan State's going to win.
There it is. Going all the way.
Yeah.
Iran.
That's about right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's funny, man. It just seems like college basketball is just, it's not what it used to be. Like there's not all this excitement. And I remember people just trying to make a way that they were going to watch, the whole tournament, however they could. And it just doesn't seem like that's the same thing going on now. Or maybe I just have more responsibilities now, so I don't get a chance.
Nah,
Right?
they're not there as long, so you don't get to know people. I mean, it's like by the time you get to know a name, they gone, and you go back to watch the same team again, and they the same players. Like Kentucky get a different starting five every year, so
Yeah.
it ain't really like you have an affiliation to a team, but you can't even really start to like the Big East ain't the Big East no more. It get
Right.
too many conferences. It's crazy.
Huh. Interesting. And I'm waiting for Brett to get on before I go to this next thing because I don't even know.
There he is.
There he is. The moderator is in the building. B. Jones is here. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Hey, what's happening? Y'all hear me?
Nah, man, you sound like the microphone is in a shoebbox up under the bed.
Right.
And you're
Or
talking
like
that direction.
Let's see. I don't know.
inhale some helium.
Is your mic plugged in?
Mike's plugged in, but I'm on a new computer, man. I got this Spectre with the the USB-C port, so I had to get one of these fancy, hubs.
Adapters.
Yeah, so I don't know if it says it's using the blue mic, but I don't know. America, let me know how it sounds.
You might need to turn up your gain on the mic or from the computer. One of them.
Let's play with it. But you can go ahead, sir, while I figure this thing on out.
Yeah, man. I just man, look, I don't know this dude. I don't follow him. I don't listen to his music, and I'm pretty sure at least 3 of us out of the 5 probably don't listen to his music. I only know of him because he dated Lauren London. But I guess rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle.
What?
Whoa. What?
Yeah. Nipsey Hussle, man, was shot in front of his store today and passed away.
Wow.
Oh, don't do that to me.
I didn't know he was dating Lauren Lucken. Wasn't that Lil Wayne's ex baby mama?
Yeah, they have a 2.5-year-old together.
Relationship though, like everybody knew them together or whatnot, and they were like a staple for a while. Not married, but like together or whatever.
Who?
Exactly.
Neighborhood Nip, man. You know what I'm saying? Like the marathon, victory lap.
I know Nipsey Russell.
Wow.
I don't know who that is.
What?
Wow.
You don't know who Nipsey Russell is?
Wow.
You don't know who Nipsey Hussle is? What do you mean? It's like West Coast rap. What?
Nipsey Russell is like.
You guys just reminded me of what was that Chris Rock movie where he was president? I think it was called Head of State.
Head of State, yeah.
And
That was a good
Bernie
movie.
Mac was his VP.
Right.
And somebody asked Bernie Mac what he thought about NATO. And he's like, I don't like him. They're like, what do you mean you don't like him? He's like, you talking about NATO Jenkins, right? He's like, oh man, you don't know about NATO? He said, well, apparently I don't know about NATO and you don't know who NATO Jenkins is. So
That's about right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I guess, man, rest in peace to him. But man, since you're here, man, let's jump into this topic, man. I'm excited to get to it. Our topic today, we are going to talk about the movie Us by Jordan Peele. And there are mixed reviews out there right now. Some people say it's a horrible movie. Like, what did I just watch?
Because they don't know what they looked at.
Because they don't know what they're looking at. They went in there for entertainment, not for edutainment, right? And there's just many layers to the movie. So I thought it would only be appropriate. We made the listeners wait a week. We gave them a chance to go see the movie. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, it's about to happen. Out of the 5 of us that are on today, the only one that hasn't seen it is Mike D, and that's okay because he's not going to because he doesn't like scary movies.
Sure don't.
So I'm gonna get on the phone with Michael and I'm gonna just have him walk around your house with a scissors, like hanging like this, just walk around.
You don't have to have him, man. I saw the commercial. That did enough for me. About a week ago, I didn't want to go downstairs and get pizza because I thought I'd close the door and I see myself standing behind the refrigerator door. I'm good.
That's help you get to your weight goal. You're gonna get to that 225.
Right.
So it's funny. It's funny to hear him say that because when we start talking about the themes and the layers of the movie, he's going to be very involved. So let's just
Before you do that, I want to say that I was one of those people that immediately left the theater and was like, I don't know what I just watched, but it
I
was
said the same
good.
100%.
thing.
100%. I was like, bro, this. I was like, I didn't want to call it stupid, but I was like, what the? But I knew there was something there.
Yeah.
I didn't know what.
I didn't know at first glance. I'm like, I don't know what he's trying to tell me. I know there's layers here, but I have not gotten it yet.
I know it.
I got a good feeling. I was like, let me just go home. Let me just relax my mind, and then I'll read about what's happening, what's saying. And I was like, oh, I got that now. I got that. But I first didn't grab it at all. I grabbed Get Out easily, but didn't get this one at all. So he got me. It was he totally made me think about this one. So looking forward to
I don't get how they're intertwined. Well, I guess we could talk about that. My bad.
What's that? You mean Get Out, and
How
and
are
this? I don't know if I necessarily have an explanation for you on that, man. I can
I heard
for you, but
that it's a continuation of Get Out.
Oh,
in a sense.
It depends on what theme you got from it. So if you got the theme from Get Out and you caught the subliminals from this one, which we'll probably piece together for all of those who haven't done a search on the movie to get it, a synopsis and get the thoughts on how it was all put together. But I think once we get all of our varying perspectives on what we got from it, it might be able to tie it together for you a little bit more as far as how they kind of not necessarily build on each other, but they blend as far as the message, I guess.
yeah.
I'm intrigued.
All right. So let's not keep holding out. So Brett, go ahead, man. Talk to us. Tell us what you saw. I don't want to go first because then I don't know if I'll leave anything else for anybody else.
Yeah, you might not. So I only saw probably about 70% of the movie, and I was trying to rewatch it. I got a decent copy or whatnot from a friend's friend, and so I'm still in the mix of watching it. So I'm up until the point where the family like gets into the driveway, but I remember most of that. But for me, I feel like Us is the U.S. It is America, and I know it kind of all came together for me when she says it at one point in the movie, and then they do the whole flashback.
She says it. So let's. She says it when Winston Duke Gabe goes outside and asks him, "Who are you people?" And she says, "We are Americans."
Right. And so that kind of started me down the path of, okay, they come, they take, and now they're afraid of it being taken back, so to speak. But it's kind of reversed. And so that's why I was trying to watch it to make sure like I'm not crazy or just pulling it, not really pulling it all together. But the what's her name?
Red. Call her
Lupita?
Red.
Lupita. The Lupita that got away was essentially the Lupita that stole her life.
Right. We'll call
We
her.
agree on that, right?
Yeah. Let's call the one.
We'll call Red. We'll call
Red.
Red the original or the one that's below. We'll call her Red because she's Red is the actual real person.
Right. So Red steals this life from a seemingly happy young lady, whatever. She wants a better life. So she comes, she steals this life. She makes a great life, but she ends up throwing the lady, the other, what are we calling the other?
The other one.
So we're gonna call the other. Ends up throwing her basically in the dungeon, and she has to live a life way beyond what she should. And
But the other was the actual.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. So let's do this, right? Okay. Let's go back.
Okay.
The movie's called Us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's a twofold premise as far as the name of it being Us, meaning that in each of us as individuals, we have a part of us that we like, and then we have parts of us we try to suppress. Right?
I think that was the most apparent message.
And when we try to suppress that other part, we're not really whole. And it's almost like there's a part of you that's in hell and there's a part of you that's living above ground.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you had them having to go down and keep going down, and you keep going down because that part of you is in hell, and you are essentially in hell because you can't ascend higher, which then gets into the whole numerology part of it, but I won't get that deep yet.
With the who? The what part?
Numerology part of it.
Oh wow. Okay.
There's some scripture part to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is Jeremiah 11:11.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But then even the numbers 11 have a significant thing in numerology where 11 is a master number,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't know if you guys remember when she went and they won the prize, and the guy asked her, "Which prize do you want?" And she said, "I want number 11."
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
no matter how you flip the number 11, it's
So
still 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember saying like the number 11 is a mirror image of itself, if you will.
Yeah.
So and then
Correct.
the movie Us, the title Us, you know what I mean? Just
Right.
it's duality in its finest form.
It's a duality, right? So you're absolutely right. But I also thought that there was a piece in there where it was, okay, you took the original person and she ends up being below, right? She's the shadows, and then you got this other person that's in the light. But to me, there was a theme there of environment plays a very important role in what happens, because you took somebody that should have been a bad seed and you put them in an ideal situation and she flourished.
Oh. Wow, okay.
Whereas the original person, you took her and now put her in a situation that wasn't ideal, and now she's just gone nuts. She's crazy.
Exactly. And so that's what it was for me. That piece of it, I mean, it was the, when we talk about, I think we had y'all had a conversation a few weeks back when it was like you talked about white culture or whatever. I wasn't on that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at this family, he has a bow, this is traditional white culture. You know what I'm saying? People like beach house, lake house, you don't traditionally see that or aren't necessarily shown that with black people. So I thought that was, that might not have been intentional, but I thought that was a piece to it. So you have this great environment where you can flourish and be absolutely anything, including the exact opposite of what you came from. And then you parallel that with society today. Those with the opportunity tend to have more success.
Don't go by that too quickly, right? Because I think what was happening in the movie, if you Google the 7 deadly sins, right, which is like lust, envy, greed, that type of stuff, you see that all manifested in the movie.
True.
Right? And even if you look at the people that were below, they all either had some type of addiction, or you could tell that they were greedy or whatever. Even the white family that ends up getting killed, right?
Yep. They had about 3 of them easily right there.
Easily, right? The girls are very much into vanity, and they judged people and didn't want to hang with people for certain reasons. And I mean, I skipped one. Fearing yourself, having a fear of dealing with yourself was a big thing, right? And I think that's why the starring family lived, because they were willing to go face their fear. Whereas everybody else around was kind of like dying off, and it's because they were running from their fears, and they ended up getting killed.
So
Go ahead, Jay.
Did Red, because this is the one who stole the life, right? Like she was the bad, and she came up, right? So did she forget that she was down there?
No, not at all.
No,
You didn't see it.
So they show you little pieces of that, right? You remember when she started twitching near the end?
Right. And she looked at her son, and her son put the mask back on, like, oh snap, what am I to do? What I got to do to my mom's, right? But it's like she kind of remembered at the end that she was like, oh snap, I'm the bad one.
No.
I wouldn't necessarily say she's the bad one. I think that she was the prepared one. And I think throughout that movie, she helped prepare her children in several ways. So like with her daughter, and she was like, run with her son, go, show him your tricks or whatever. It's like she came from that element. So she was already, she kind of knew what she was dealing with. Even though she was at a young age, she didn't grow to her adulthood in it. She had an idea of how to deal with herself, basically. And I think that's how she was able to overcome it. But again, this is me missing pieces of the movie.
Right.
I think you're pretty good.
She actually goes through and has the flashback of, oh wait, I was pulled in,
Yeah.
and this girl, they show her changing her clothes into the clothes that she had on, and she pops back out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's who was in the back of the mom and dad's vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm trying to tell you, man, you need to see this, man.
Right.
Look,
Watch this movie, bro.
It's crazy, dog.
you need to watch it because there's just so many layers to it. Like even when she was talking to the son, remember at one point she told the son to take his mask off,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was, look, don't hide who you are, face who you are, right? And become whole. And that's how he ended up beating himself. If you look at it, they all beat themselves.
Yeah.
100%.
And then once he beat himself, all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm putting my mask back on because I'm a whole person now. And I think that was a major theme of the movie is you becoming a whole person, because if you go up and man, look, let me find Jeremiah 11:11 for y'all.
I was just looking at it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
hold on.
I mean, I can read it.
There's
I'll
a
read
piece of the movie, and so I kind of differ. Well, I thought differently when it came to the end, and he put his mask back on when he was in the car, and I thought, and I missed this part of the movie, but I heard that he was in a locker or something, and he overheard. So he overheard the conversation between Red, his true mother, and the one whose life got stolen.
Yes.
And so for me, when I'm like, okay, if he overheard that conversation and he just watched his mom badass this whole situation, he's like, I don't know if he's more fearful of her and knowing who she is, what she did, and what she's capable of, versus him putting his mask on and being okay with himself.
Nah, I think he looked the way he was looking at her. He put his mask on like
he was plotting.
I don't know what I gotta do. I'm about to have to kill my moms.
Right.
Like, you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like,
you know what I'm saying?
that's
Like,
how he put his mask on.
yeah. So that's what I got from that moment.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought as well too. That it was that weird, like, okay, all right,
Like,
I'm at this.
like,
It's not over yet. This is not the end.
Oh shit!
We got more.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, that's pretty much the vibe I got.
Like I know you know that I know you know.
Right.
So,
We gotta understand it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Jeremiah 11:11. Man, I gotta find it. So you guys keep
I got
talking.
it.
Mike got it.
Oh, what is it, Mike?
Go ahead, Deacon Rupert.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. But it's the 11, so like from verse 1 through 10, is
Yes.
Jeremiah hearing this from God as he's talking about the children of Israel leaving Egypt.
Right. But he's also saying that God gave you everything that you needed, and when you go against him, right?
Right. So
in God giving you
false
everything that you
prophets
needed,
and right.
that includes the worst parts of you. God still made that. So if you try to deny that, you're denying God.
And all of that is being said in verses 1 through 10 before you get to the 11:11.
Right.
Nor incline their ear, but walked everyone in the imagination of their evil heart. Therefore, I will bring upon them all the words of the covenant, which I commanded them to do, but they did them not, which is 8. And it kind of goes through the whole thing, getting up to 10. Wow.
Yeah.
So the people underground is the quote unquote evil, if you will, that
right
came upon us.
However, it is perceived evil, and that's where Brett and the whole United States thing comes in, because I think it was dual, and again, it being us, so the many versions that we have of ourselves, that really it's one person, and if we just accept that and embrace it, we become a whole person, and we can now ascend, right? Okay. As opposed to being where we're at, right? So it's almost like you look at the earth is purgatory. When they go down in the little fun house or whatever it is, they go down. Now you're in hell, right? If you want to ascend further than from purgatory, you need to accept both parts of you.
But I feel like they weren't giving us a chance. I wasn't in the movie, but I feel like they weren't giving people a chance to accept the other half because they was offing them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it was like maybe it's like you've been denying me for so long. Now it's my turn to live.
Right. Well, here's why.
That you should have been living.
Right. Here's why. So you remember the part with the rabbits in the cages, right?
Right.
So it was rabbits in cages, and it was in a classroom setting. right? So it's almost like people have been in an experiment through the government for a long time. And because we've been kind of taught or hardwired to want more, only show the best of us, right? Think about social media. You only show the best of you. You don't show the things that are going wrong with you, right? So it's one big experiment. Yeah. So, of course, when those ugly things come up, and if you think about the people that were in the lower, as I said, they were either diseased, gambling, drinking, minorities. You didn't see a whole lot of just straight up just, oh, man, it looks like just a regular everyday white person, right? Everything was something that in some shape, form, or fashion is shunned in the United States, right? So you take the U.S. now, right, which us, it was a capital U and a lowercase s, right?
Yep.
If it was United States, it would be capital U, capital S. So now you have the breakdown of the United States. So it goes from United States, which with a capital S, it states lowercase s, United States, a state of. So we're all united in a state of what?
Wow.
Oh, man. Sorry, America. If y'all can see.
He said, get out pencil
Love
and
it.
paper.
Right,
He said, get out pencil and paper.
And they did unite. You know what I mean? They did that bridge of I forgot what it was called in the
Hands in America.
Hands across America.
Hands across America. So is that like them saying like, yo, this is the way it should be? You know,
Well,
like,
no, that was her. That was her only way of knowing at the point in life when she was pulled down. That was the only way she knew that to remind them that, hey, this is what I remember as a united front. This is what we stand for. So because she had not grown past that point, all she knew was that was it. That was this must be right. This is what we have to do. Even though some of them in that chain link, that some of them had to literally commit suicide and kill themselves to hold that link across, because America has so many water pockets that in order for it to happen, people are walking in to give themselves away to make it work.
Right. And so it's like, if you don't, like Kay kept saying, if you don't necessarily face yourself on that level and accept it so that you can ascend, it can or it will take you out. Yeah. In the movie, like, you know, they were taken out by it. So like if you keep running from yourself, it will ultimately take you out.
Yeah. Think about it. Think about the family, right? And let's remember, so the house that they went to was a vacation home, right? And it was a hand-me-down from somebody's grandmother or whoever.
Adelaide's mom, yeah.
Right, Adelaide's mom, right? And then they had the friends that were there, and they had upgraded theirs. They had a backup generator. They had all this stuff.
Yep.
And when the wife came and told the husband, right, and we're talking about the white family now, when the wife came and told the husband, hey, I think there's some noise outside, go see what it is. And he was like, nah, I'd rather just stay right here and be comfortable in my chair.
Yep.
Right. And that was it right there. I'm comfortable here. So I'm not going to try to improve myself. I'm not going to go face my fear because I'm comfortable and complacent where I'm at. Yeah. So that fear came and got them. That's why they all got killed.
So the regular people got killed by the people in the red?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, majority of them. Yeah.
And then the people in the red were the original people.
No.
Only Adelaide. Only Lupita's character was the original.
But everybody else was from hell.
Was a copy or a clone or some kind of experiment.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the worst parts of you in another form. That's just like Castaway.
Castaways ended up
the boy that was in the red is the one that was talking to the mom for the real, that was in her real self.
The mom was not the real mom. Well,
no. The boy in the red was from the original. But okay, so whatever happens to you above ground, there's some variation of it that happens to you below ground.
But in a negative sense, like in the worst possible.
Yeah, in the worst possible way. So if I got you a toy for Christmas, then below gets a toy, but it's gonna have sharp edges. It's gonna cut their hand every time they try to play with it. Right. All types of craziness like that.
And for you, it's just like a basketball.
Because you're playing with it, they play with it too. They're literally mirroring your images. So every time that you did something, you have more joy. They have more pain.
Right.
Oh, so that's why they're trying to kill you, so that way they can get your joy. So if you stop having joy, they'll stop having pain.
Yep.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
See,
deep.
why you got to put that? Why you got to put that in a scary flick though? Why you can't just?
It's not.
It's not a scary movie,
Only
though.
scary.
It's not a scary movie, man.
So,
So,
that
and
blood.
you know what? That's what's funny about the movie, because the themes in the movie are something that you could go to church and get the same theme in church.
But not
Right.
to take away from the theme of it, but even the presentation of the commercial and the promo.
But
if
even
you
think
put
about it.
that in there, it will cause more people to go to hear the message instead of me thinking it's some people with the folks and the crazy people. And
How scary is it to face yourself?
Hey, Mike, let me ask you a
That's
question,
my
though.
question.
Let me ask you a question, Mike, and we'll come back to you guys' question, right? There used to be a saying back in the day that they said if you wanted to keep something from black people, you put it where?
in a book,
You put it in a book.
right?
Right. So now here's this movie that's labeled a horror movie that the masses are going to go out to see. It's a potential message that could free people, right? And you
Right.
might get it that, hey, we all need to be our whole self, which I think that movement's already happening, where people are becoming whole and they're accepting, look, this is what's wrong with me. It is what it is. Here's what's right with me is much better than that, but this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And I think because of that, we're starting to now break down the infrastructure in the United States that's keeping us in that experiment. Now those experiments are failing, right? So if you think about the millennial generation, they want to put a meaning and something behind everything that they do, because they're starting to break the mold of that experiment. And they're like, hey, this is who we are. You like it or you don't. They're not worried about competing.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So you put it in a movie where most people are going to be like, oh, that's a horror movie. I'm not going to go see that. And then there's other people are just like, ooh, I like being scared. I like jumping. Nobody's expecting that you're going to get this level of education because they're not looking for it.
Nope.
Which is the same as
Right.
Get Out.
Because I definitely went into it expecting to jump. You know, I went into it expecting to be like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? But I was like, yo, this is it's like so deep that it's like I'm like not necessarily there. But this makes total sense. But back to the question though, Mike. Like I think Brett, you said you had the same thing. Like I feel like it's perfect placement for it to be put in a horror film, because that's one of the scariest things to do, is to face yourself. You know what I mean? And see yourself who you truly are. Because all of us got ugly and dirty and dark sides to us that we don't necessarily want to face. But if you can, that's when you ascend, like Kay said, or that you're saved, if you will.
But that's not. I got 5 on it. Like, I mean, it's like that's completely like that's a message. Like you can, if that is a promotion, that gets people to come out and want to hear it. But basically, it's like you only get the message if you get past the whatever of wanting to be. Like if you don't want to see horror movies, you don't get the message unless we had this conversation.
Right.
So I'll say the way that it was marketed, I only saw one trailer, and I saw the trailer, and I thought it was more puppets or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't think it was like real people. But I saw the one trailer, and the draw for me was Peele, because I had already seen Get Out.
Right.
So if you saw Get Out, and you were vaguely familiar with Key and Peele, you're like, oh, I gotta go see this. Now the I got 5 on it, or whatever the marketing, like the light marketing messages, that's all the sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like you attract more bees with honey. So if I'm gonna get the masses to come see this movie, not only are they coming, well, most people coming because they know my name, they know my resume, and they see some things that they might be able to relate to, or it's kind of funny. Then I get them in there, and I drop this bomb on them and have them leaving like, well, what the hell did I just watch? Or I drop this bomb on them and I actually make them think about their life, or think about how they dealing with themselves, facing their fear. Or if it's America looking at them and looking at itself and facing what the root of an issue is in a manner of trying to change it. Like if I can get you to the message, then you can actually receive it. If I can't get you there, then it don't matter how great it is.
Like bring them in with what they want, but leave them with what they need. Type mentality.
So think about it. For the longest, we've always said, look, people are being programmed all the time with what you see on TV, media, what you hear on the radio. So all he did was take a platform and say, okay, cool. I'm going to do some unprogramming today. but he had to sneak it in there because if they knew that's what was happening, would it have even made it to the big screen?
Of course not. Yeah, I know. By the time it was too late, and that's what he does. He makes it too late to when you realize it, you see it deeper. You're like, oh man, this is wow. Okay, he got it in. He got it in. All right, cool. Because it takes you to leave. It's not so abundant where you're literally talking about it, saying this is my message. I'm putting it in the movie. It's more of a like you got to understand. And when you go home, you're gonna want to research and read more about it and know. And now you're make yourself more educated, understanding the process behind it. So that's what's even more scary because you're now leaving there wanting to do more research and more stuff happening. So
I can absolutely agree with that because all I did was put in Jeremiah and 11:11 came up, and the first thing you get is 4 videos of why it's important to read.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So and look, it from that was a theme throughout the movie where the little girl, she was walking by a guy and he had Jeremiah 11:11 on a sign. Right. That was another thing. Homeless people. We know that they're we act like they don't exist. We don't see them in the United States. Right. Even though they just passed a something $1 billion bill to address homelessness. I saw that on the NAACP Image Awards. Auntie Maxine talked. They just approved that this week. So shout out to Maxine Waters. But yeah, it's crazy. There's just so much research you could go do if you were actually paying attention. There's so much research you could go do right now.
This House of Judah and House of Israel that's in this thing? In the verse? That's it. That's all religion.
My something that and
I still ain't going to see it.
What tripped me out is that nobody could talk, right? None of the Reds could talk, and so because I went to go see with my lady, and she was the point that she brought up, and I don't know if this has like significant weight to it, but the reason why the Red Lupita could talk is because she was the original, like she came from above ground.
She came from above ground,
right? But nobody else, everybody else, like they just mumbled or they yelled random noises,
which is why she became the leader as well too, because she had a
intel maybe
level of communication. So her first words she talked about was "once upon a time" because that's what she heard up until life. So she knew nothing else after that. So she's putting words together, but that's why her voice was so raspy. It wasn't because she had a bad voice, because it's not being used.
Right.
Yep. So when you're talking now, you're talking, and it might say, "Oh, someone's here," so because she had to get it out, other than just yelling and screaming. She can yell and scream too, because she communicates that. She learned the language because she had to communicate with her husband, who was yelling across the water back to him.
So I had a question.
Which husband? Which husband? No, which husband are you talking about?
Red, the underground husband. So Lupita's husband underground, because literally it's a mirror image. Same family, same husband, same wife, same kid. Like it's all just an image of them as a family.
So the rest of the Red family couldn't talk. Only the Red wife could talk.
Yep.
Correct.
And then all the above ground people, oh yeah, because you heard him talking and she was screaming for the boy.
Right.
Yeah, question, B?
Yeah. So at the end of the movie, right, you got the Hands Across America scene. All of the Reds have killed pretty much all of the regular life people, but Lupita's other or whatever who stole the life actually made it out. What did y'all take from that? Or what was the symbolism in that for you?
What do you mean?
Because when I saw it and with my initial synopsis or analysis of the movie, again, she stole his life, and she was able to face herself or face that fear of it being taken away from her. But it was who it was rightfully owned, who rightfully owned it, that was coming back to get their life back. But she was able to win that battle, so to speak, keep her family and keep on going into existence, riding off into the wind or whatever. And then they break to this Hands Across America and all of the Reds, holding hands and showing some extreme sign of unity.
Mm-hmm.
But yet and still, this person who I guess never really was afforded this life, but never really, it wasn't theirs to have to begin with. has now taken something that wasn't necessarily theirs, taken what they wanted, taken what they may have felt they were owed, and was able to ride off into the sunset basically with that.
Yeah, but remember, the switch happened when they were little girls.
Right.
It didn't happen when they were grown. So she's grown in this, right?
She's grown into that, right?
So either one of them at this point, right? Now, intellectually, she's an adult, but she still came from below.
Mm-hmm.
She was born in that below. So she still there's a balance there because she came from it and then she learned how to adapt up top.
Mm-hmm.
The other Lupita, which was down there, she's at a disadvantage now because she doesn't have a balance because she grew up down there. So intellectually, she can't handle up top.
Mm-hmm.
So you kill one off, and it's the one that was most balanced is the one that ended up surviving.
So the one that was born up top, so the red wife dies, but the real wife stays with the red family, even though the real wife is the person from the red family.
No.
That's her family.
Mike,
No. So the original one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the one that was born up top
Mm-hmm.
ends up being the one that's down below, right?
So it's all 5 reds.
Her whole life.
Okay.
Right? Other than she was born up top, but then they switched. So the one that was born below ends up being up top as a little girl, grows up, goes to school, gets married, has children. So she knows both sides, which is why she told the son, if you stay with me, I will show you how to stay alive.
Because she's up top.
Right.
I saw that on the video. I mean, on the commercial. Okay.
Right. So she ends up being the one, and then she survives, and she's with her family that the only one that really knows anything is the son.
But her family is the red family, right?
Oh.
No.
Her family is the family up top.
But keeping with the this is America theme, can it be like to answer your question, is it could it be looked at maybe like from an immigrant, like how they come and they come and then they're awarded this possibility, this opportunity of a new life, and they fight to get it, you know what I mean, and they have a certain level of appreciation typically that we don't have because we're born into it, and so they fight harder to keep it, and then they're right off into the sunset. Is that a stretch, or is that can you grab that?
Yeah, I think essentially that's really what that's one of the things that I kind of took from it. Not necessarily the immigrant, I guess from an immigrant standpoint, because even when I was talking about it that night that I was trying to piece all of this together, it kind of seemed like it was just a switcheroo basically of the way that this country and the less fortunate kind of come about, and those who have kind of come about. So it's this person who started off less fortunate came in and was like, oh, you guys are living great and I have nothing. Right. So I want to know what it's like to live that way. So I'm going to take that and basically do what was kind of done in America's birthing. So that's why I say it was a symbolic showing of how this country kind of came about.
Yeah, and if you think about it, right, she had lived below as a little girl, and then she came up top. And remember, the husband kept saying, oh, man, we should get this. Let's get a boat. Let's get a backup generator. Let's fix this. Let's fix that. And she was just like, no, we don't need all that.
Yeah.
We're good. Blah, blah, blah. And then if it just to address it, look, his challenge was, and if you look at him, he was trying to be clean shaven. He had his little glasses. He's speaking real proper. He had on his Howard University t-shirt, right? But there was a conflict there because he's not being who he really is. He feels he has to look and portray a certain image in order to be successful and be seen as successful. Right. If you look at his opposite, or the one that was from below, he had the full beard.
Yep.
Right? And he looked like, a dude you would see around the way.
Right. He was trying to keep up with the white dude. I don't know his name. But he was trying to he would get mad when he felt like he was doing better than him, and he's like, yo, I got to keep up with the Joneses, if you will.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So many little gems from this movie, man. I can't wait to see the next one. Honestly,
I want him to.
There's gonna be a next.
I would like for him to put out some type of his vision of the movie and what he was trying to like. Can you put out everything that you were trying to cover in the movie? That's
I think
what
he
I
will
really.
with the DVD when he does his little commentary part. I think he did it for. Did he do it for Get Out on DVD? Like finally had like a panel and he explained what it was.
I saw an interview with him, and he was like nonchalant with it, man. He wasn't trying to ever lay no. Maybe because it's still fresh, like he don't want to give it away because people still watching it. But he was like, I ain't giving up nothing.
If it was me, I'd probably do something very similar because I
Right.
think that takes away from what
Right.
the intention of the movie is. It's like
Right.
I made this masterpiece for you to think about it. You
Right.
know, I want you to apply, your own spin on it, what you can get from it, and instead of me basically giving you the keys or the tools or whatever. I think it puts a lot more responsibility on the viewer to put everything together.
I'm interested in this verse.
So,
chapter piece.
and just back to my original question, how it? I mean, B, I think you I think you're the only one that suggested this. How does this movie tie back into Get Out, or can it? If I'm not mistaken, I think you said that in the group.
So with Get Out, right? It was the premise was white folks trying to basically take black folks, for whatever it, for their melanin or their eyes or their skin or whatever they could kind of do for you, right? And keep you in this sunken place while I kind of keep you as my sheep or whatever. With this one, like I said, I thought it was a little bit reversed, but the theme is still somebody taking, what someone else kind of had, so to speak. And then that's when I put that's when I start adding in the historical perspective of how, America was brought about, not necessarily kind of completely foregoing the facing yourself part of it, but that kind of ties into it at the back end, because I think that's the solution that a lot of people want, when it comes to dealing with some of the evils that come with this country being what it is and how great it has become over time. And what a lot of people kind of refuse to do when it comes to taking the next step into the healing and making everything as great as it possibly could be is just facing the fact, you know what I'm saying? Just own something, own it. And then that way we can, move past it, not excuse it or act like it never existed. So I think that's the parallel between the two. Now, what he's going to do with the third one, I'm not sure, because I was told that it was a part of some trilogy of books that they were loosely tied or based to.
Interesting.
We'll
see.
We'll see.
Great.
Mike D, you
Yes,
gotta go
sir.
see the movie, bro. I mean,
Nah,
we
I'm
basically
good.
ran it down for you, so you don't have nothing.
I seen enough. I start doing some research. I check out this Jeremiah chapter and see where we go from there, where it takes us with the numerology with the 1111. And then, it's in the,
No. All right, man. We'll lighten it up for you, bro. I heard y'all talking about the basketball, college basketball. So who's in the Final Four now? You got Michigan State. Who?
Virginia, Texas Tech, and
Auburn, right?
Auburn.
Who winning? None of us watch.
I already said Michigan. I said Michigan State's gonna take it.
I would, you know who I would like to win? I would like Auburn to win.
I was gonna say Auburn. I'm just throwing it out there.
Everybody wants the Cinderella story to win. So
I like it for Barkley. He really he get a bad rap for what he does as a commentator, and he genuinely seems to be I won't say a nice guy, but he's genuine. He just wear his honesty on his sleeve, and sometimes that get him into trouble because he say stuff that he shouldn't to be politically correct. But he genuinely loves that school. So I thought him beating Kenny was kind of cool because they had the whole North Carolina thing going. He's really enjoying the whole run by Auburn. So it's good to see him smile and just be happy and kind of get the big man chuckles. I like to see him win it.
Okay.
Yeah, he ain't never won nothing else. He don't have no NBA titles.
Got no ships. No
Right. Give me some. Right. Kenny always teasing him. Shaq always teasing him.
He's got a gold medal. That's it.
There you go.
All right. What's the rest of your shirt, bro? I feel like it ties into the podcast. Always be yourself unless
you can be Batman, then be Batman.
100%.
Nice.
I'm sticking with you, Art, man. What you got for us this week in the corner?
Man, it's crazy because I was thinking about everything and kind of sticking back with the Joneses mindset. You know, you got to live for you. You got to make sure that no matter what's happening outside, no matter what you're seeing, what you're doing, be comfortable what you're doing and your plan of action. You may not need the flash or want the flash because you are comfortable being just the guy or the girl in the Toyota Camry. And that's good for you. You don't have to be the person that subscribes or puts everything into that Ferrari, but has nothing to show for it behind the scenes. So find you and who you are. And if you are the person that wants to be the $200 million person, but you're living, say $200 million in debt, but you got $10 million in cash you can use. You can be that person and be fine with it. Or you can be a person that has $2 million that's just yours, and you're comfortable, happy living below your means your entire life and being fine with it. Find your goal, find your purpose, and know who you are, and be cool with it. And once you know you're cool with that process, life becomes what you want it to be. Live for you. Live for you and your family. Don't live for someone else.
Absolutely. I agree. That's why I ain't going to see that damn movie.
Hey, Dace, what you got for us this week, man?
No doubt, man. I something I actually dropped on Instagram a couple days ago now. One of the big things that helped me to transition from my struggle with my health and my weight was defining or redefining my values, like shifting my values, because I didn't necessarily value health, right? I didn't necessarily value nutrition and physical activity, right, on the level that my dreams and aspirations said I did or suggested I did. So I think that if we change our values and stop looking at, how can I say, cake, as a valuable item, and say maybe this apple, just throwing out scenarios, right? Maybe this apple is more value. And as a person, and redefine your character in that sense, I think that we can make some serious ways, make some serious changes, and this health takeover is just that much more realistic for us. So change your values, change your life.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate that, Jay. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, stay connected with us on all social media platforms at 13 Floor Please on Instagram and Facebook. You can catch the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Vimeo, and YouTube each and every week. And let us know. Let us know in the comments what you think of the show, any show topics you want us to discuss. Hit us up on any of our platforms. Leave it in the comments. Coach K, I'm not supposed to say that no more. I'm sorry. Edit that out. The Growth Alchemist. Tie it all together for us, baby.
Listen, man, based on the podcast we just did, man, look, Coach K is part of who I am. The Growth Alchemist is part of who I am. I got to claim all of that. So, man, look, I don't know if we bored our audience today with the topic of conversation, because if you haven't seen the movie, some of it would kind of be, man, what are they talking about? But I'll give you guys a real life kind of example to go along with it. So I've always told the fellas, it's like, hey, I have this other level that I can't get to. I know I have another level of intensity in my speaking, and for whatever reason, I can't reach it when I'm on the stage. And for a lot of you out there, you are in a similar situation where there is something that you want to do, and you know that you have another level and you can't get to that level. And the reason that I cannot get to that level of intensity, that next level, is because deep down inside, there are things that I'm trying not to deal with. I'm trying not to expose my flaws, and I'm trying not to project my weaknesses. I don't want to make an error. And because of that fear of what's below, I can't get to ascension up top and give you that ultimate level of who I am as a speaker. And for some of you, you're in the same situation. You know that there's something more for you, but because you're not willing to go inside and deal with that thing that's below, and that you're fearful of, you can't project on that upper level. And what I'm trying to tell you all today is become a whole person. Because whoever you believe in, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever, They made you with the intention of being a whole person. And if you deny any part of that person, you're going against the universe and you will never reach your ultimate potential. So go out there and be a whole person.
There it is. There it is. Thank you all for listening, ladies and gentlemen. We are done here on the 13th floor where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing.
The 13th floor. The 13th floor.